So I'm going to do a modification on the rocket. So on the rocket you've got, it's a triple, so you've got 3 cylinders, 1, 2, 3, and you've got 3 coil packs, so 3 coils. These are old, what are they, TEC MP10 coils. So you've got 3 coils, you've got 2 plugs per cylinder, 2 spark plugs. So you've got 3 coils, 2 here, 1, 2. The third one is up there, wedged in the front of the bike. And each one of those coils has 2 outputs, 2 leads. Each one goes to a spark plug. But on the input side of the coil, the low tension side, you've got these pretty crappy spade connectors which just fall off. 1960s spade connectors, and these big old coils. So the thing is, those coils sit on the side of the engine where if I do go down the route of a supercharger, the air intake comes in there. So I need to get, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a modification where I take off the stock coils and I put coil on plugs in instead, so there's no separate coils. The coils are on top of the plug. Now these are the original coils from the bike. So I had a couple of sets that I've kind of had a play around with before, because I had problems with the leads, and the leads were breaking down, and the coils as well. So this is a TEC MP10 coil with the crappy spade connectors on it. So there's 2 plugs per cylinder, so 3 coils for the 3 cylinders. So across this is one of the old coils. So in the manual, the service manual says between 1.4 to 1.8 ohms primary across the primary coil. So across these 2 here, so 1.4 to 1.8 ohms is a very low resistance, very low. So this is a cheap £10 meter. I don't know whether that would measure accurately something that low, but so I've got 1.9 ohms across that primary side of the coil, which this meter isn't that accurate. So it could well be 1.8, and this just shows it as 1.9. So 1.4 to 1.8 is what it says in the service manual. So I'm going to replace the coils with these basically coil on plugs. So the coil is already on top of the plug connector. So they've got a nice connector which clips on, and these are actually off a 2002 to 2004 Yamaha R1. They're the kiddies that fit perfectly, size lengthwise, and have got the coil resistance kind of best matching the original coils. I'm sure there's hundreds of coils out there that would do it as well, but these seem to be these seem to be not so bad, fairly matching. So if I measure the resistance across the primary side of the coil, I've got so the meter's showing me 1.6 1.6 to 1.7. I was getting 1.7 before per plug. But of course on the stock bike your coil is running 2 plugs from 1 coil, so I'll have to get 2 coils per cylinder and basically wire them in parallel, so wire them together, and that gives me about 1.9 to 1 ohm across 2 coils. So saying the meter was slightly, it could be slightly inaccurate. So while that is lower resistance than the service manual calls out for measurement on the stock coils, these R1, the Yamaha R1 2002 to 2004 coils have been used by other people than Triumph Rocket 3 without problem at all. In fact, they've been recommended as the ones that seem to suit the best. Now we need to make sure that they are exactly the right ones. So they have a reference on them. So they've got the Mitsubishi logo and they're 6T558. That is the part number. Right, so solder up these connections, put a bit of shrink wrap on it. So actually what I'm going to do is put a bit of shrink wrap on first. Ooh. Down there, add that down there. Alright, so I want to put a bit of solder on those and solder the other wire to them. It's my little temporary vise. Okay, gas soldering iron. These are quite good, these gas soldering irons. It's a Super Pro 125 and it runs off butane gas, so you fill it like with what you'd fill a cigarette lighter with, and they're actually very good. Turn them right up, but they get a lot of heat, a lot of, they'll last for 30 minutes, maybe 20-30 minutes, but enough to do certainly automotive soldering anyway, like 12 volt on a car or bike. I think certainly I've found it to be a really handy iron. You don't need to plug it in and have the wire dangling and burning yourself and stuff. So I just find them quite good. There we go. So I'll just tin these wires. There we go, that's that. And where's my little bit of wire I cut off earlier? It'll be on the floor probably. Yep, so that's here. It's quite handy, it's got a little stand as well, so you can stand that and then tin the wire. Turn it up a little bit. Let's turn that up. Hotter now. So soldered together, do the same with this side. good if you're not got the shakes. There we go. You can get, I might get a pair of them helping hands, the little thing, they're quite handy to hold wire together whilst you're soldering it. So there we go, that's that'll do. Slide my shrink wrap down. Over there. Over there. And the red and the black aren't actually positive and negative. They're one's positive 12 volt to charge the coil, and the other one is a trigger. So one's to charge the coil, the other one's to trigger it to tell it to release that spark. And then I had a bigger bit of heat shrink. Which I'll put over the top of those both. Okay. There's another set done. There's one set. There's another set that I've already done. One more set, one more pair to do. Then I can start to wire them in the bike. So there we go, 3 sets of 3 pairs of coil on plugs. So cylinder, cylinder, cylinder. So there we go, 3 of those. Let's put them in the bike. So that's coil 1 up the front, going to cylinder 1, and then in the side, that's the side of the bike there, we've got coil 2, coil 3. So those are the low tension wires, which are the ones that ping off, and they're not very good. So I'm going to pull out, starting with that first coil there. I think I have actually replaced this coil at one stage because it looks slightly different to the other 2. I might have changed this previously. Yeah, I think this is a slightly different coil. It's the coil that came off cylinder 1, and it is definitely an aftermarket. It's a different one to the other 2 coils that are on there. So that's been changed. I don't know whether I changed that. I can't remember now. But yeah, so that's the one is out. So we've just got 2 wires in there, so I can take that coil bracket off the side now. A little earth wire there, that's I can't remember what that's for actually. I'll check where it goes. I'll connect it back up anyway. It looks very thin. I think it might be the power for the USB. Yes, the USB charger for the phone. Plug caps off. And two. You can see that they're different. They're not the standard Triumph 5 kiloohms. I wonder whether that was a cause of grief. So let me see, it frees up a lovely load of room under the on top of the engine block there now. So if I do go the supercharger option, that's where the inlet goes in this side. So a supercharger here, air goes in that side. So cool, that's good. Just try not to drop anything down the ports. Cool. Right, so there's our 1, 2, and the wires at the front. So what I'll do is probably just twist them together for the moment, just to get a connection to make sure I can fire it up. Clean up. So let's cut them off. Plugs number 5 and 6. So let's put that in. 6 is the end one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's not the two close together, it's the two, because they're great big cylinders, imagine. So, so which way shall I point them? Like that? I don't know. Would that mean? This must be waterproof connectors. Maybe I should point them inwards just for extra protection so water doesn't get in there. So let's get them plugged out and see what they're like anyway. Right, it's an 18mm, the plug, this is a spare one. So it's an 18mm spark plug. Tool that you need, which is not the most common. So one set, wired up. Number 2. So these are the crappy old connectors that are the stock connectors, and they're pretty poor and they're pretty rubbish. So what are the chances of it starting first time? We will see. Well, started. So what I'll do is I'll make up these connections now good. I'll make them up good, and yeah. Well, the fact it started is a good sign. So while I was at it, I actually put some new spark plugs in as well. But what I had to do was my spark plug socket. I couldn't find my 18mm spark plug socket, so I only had a short one. So and the plugs are really deep in there. So what I had to do was make up. I welded up a little an 18mm plug box spanner, brutally welded that onto a bit of road pin. But you know what, done the trick. I might keep that in my toolbox because that fits perfectly for the rocket into the plug wells. So yeah, quite happy with that little bit of welding. Anyway, so there we go. We got the coil on plugs fitted, and see, all this used to have the coils in here, so now you can see into the engine. I know it looks a bit messy with the wires. I'm going to tidy them up. So if I put the supercharger on, then the air intake can go above the top of the engine into the inlet manifold.
So the parts you need are going to be 6 coils from, so the ones that I got fit an R1 2002 to 2004, I believe, or might be up to 2006, but the Yamaha part number is 5PW 823100000. So the important thing is that the coils have the Mitsubishi F6T558 marked on them. Now there are other coils which are the same readings, so the same performance and the same, it's the same size as well. They have to be quite long to fit into the plug well. So those Yamaha coils work very well. They're on the Triumph Rocket forum. Other people have used them successfully, so they're the ones that I looked out for. It just means that you need to, an R1 has 4 coils normally, so you need basically 1.5 sets of coils off R1s from eBay. And so I wouldn't buy them new. I'd get them off eBay. They I think they cost me maybe 20 quid for the set of 4, and a £5 each. So it's about £30 for the coils themselves. So yeah, you can find other ones that will fit. These are ones that other people on the Rocket forum have used, and they work fine. The connector for them is a Furukawa FWC2FB coil connector. So it's also listed on eBay as well as a Nippon Denso coil connector. So if you look for the coil connectors for Yamaha R1 or Google that Furukawa part number, you'll get up some of the connectors. There's quite a few listed. I in fact managed to get a bag of, I think it's about 8 of them with wires already connected, and I think it came in under £10. So the whole doing this mod has been under 50 quid. The performance on the bike is a little bit better. I did have, if I was high revs, I was getting a lag. It was kind of missing, and I think it was one of the coils breaking down at high revs. So yeah, I've got linear smooth acceleration now through the range, so that's good. It's a worthwhile mod to do anyway for me, and it looks like someone's had a bit of a go at the coils before on that bike. I think I might have changed one before myself. So yeah, these are the parts that you need, and yeah, I'm happy with it. It frees up a lot of space on top of the engine, makes it a bit tidier. So that's probably a good mod anyway. If your coils aren't playing up or anything like that, or you don't need to put the supercharger on or anything, will it get you anything? No, it won't get you anything over stock. But if your coils are playing up, you want to change them anyway, then why not do this mod?